All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. Just mic check here. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Kind of got a little bit of a new setup here today, so I'm just making sure everything is working. All right. So Bitcoin weekly candle close. A back test of a previous support level here. We had that nice wick down to about 100K this week. Kind of looks like a pin bar on the weekly close here. Not a bad candle. Just it looks like a back test candle. Okay. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about that close. We do want to be cognizant of the weekly momentum here. Okay. We do have a bit of weekly bearish divergence here on our momentum oscillator. I wouldn't say it's cause for concern until we start, closing below the 80 level. And as we did here in December, something similar where we had that momentum shift. Okay. We haven't really done that just yet. We haven't had a weekly MACD cross. We aren't really clipping here on the super trend yet. In fact, we actually got a cross here like a week or so ago. So like I said, something to be cognizant of on the weekly. We didn't really get, we're not really seeing, we're basically just starting. It looks like we're starting this momentum to be overbought on the weekly time frame. The 2-week time frame still looks good. We still got momentum to the upside here on the 2-week time frame. Our 3-week time frame giving us the cross. So to me, the higher time frames here are going to push up this momentum to keep us above the 80 level here for some time. So I would be on the side of us going higher on the price over the course of the next coming weeks, maybe the next coming months, is what this is alluding to or suggesting. Okay. And on our monthly time frame here, it looks like we're getting a reset, right? So like if our 2-week and our 3-week here kind of crossed up, given how we close the end of this month, we could actually end up getting a monthly cross back up. That would be an extremely bullish thing to see. Okay. And so that is materializing right now. We could see some kind of consolidation up here, or maybe even a little bit of a deeper drawdown potentially, based off of those lower time frames. But you can see that the 3-day candle here, putting in a bullish engulfing. Well, I guess it's not quite engulfing, but it's very close. We had a bit of a pullback here last week. We're coming into this resistance region here, this 106 region, which is a pretty critical spot for Bitcoin right now to get back above if we do want to see continuations. But like I said before, those higher time frames still look pretty good. Do I think we're going to see continuations to the downside here? I think it's not out of the cards that we get. Maybe one more drop to like the $94,000 region. I think it's a possibility. I'm not ruling it out, I should say. Okay. If we start taking out this daily 50 period moving average, I think 95 to 92K, even a deep retrace like that is possible, especially if we cannot get closures above this 106 neckline. We're very close to doing it, by the way, so I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying that if we don't have the momentum to do it, I would suspect we see further downside. All right. Let's take a look at our tether chart because that is going to dictate what this market will do. So we did come up to tag this 5% region here. That was that drawdown we got to about 100K. And we got a bit of rejection there, which is good. We got a quick snap back up. We could see that Tether came back down to kind of retest this breakout area here. We really want to see continuation down, right? This being a full-on rejection of the super trend. My problem is that we're still above the daily Kijun line here, which suggests that Tether is actually still bullish on the daily time frame, even though we're below the super trend. So the trend isn't bullish yet on the daily, but it's starting to show signs of bullish activity, which could be kind of bearish for crypto, right? So our weekly time frame here, last week we talked about it. We had closed a weekly bullish engulfing candle, and this week we actually still did close a green weekly candle, all right? Now we got a bit of a long wick here into this resistance area here, but we can kind of see, and doesn't necessarily bode well, is that we're getting a weekly cross up here on momentum. We're not getting a confirmed buy signal there yet, but you know, when you start getting those crosses, it's not necessarily always the best thing to see. Okay. So it could be the start of a pullback in the coming weeks if this does start to pick up momentum. Now, what could happen to something like this? We could get this little bit of a move up. You know, Bitcoin pulls back to that, like I said, that 92 to 96K region, and then this just gets rejected and comes back down again, and that would make, you know, that would give us that momentum that we want to see back to the upside. So I am kind of you know, cautiously bullish here. There's no real reason to be like, hey, we're going into a bear market. No, but Bitcoin is at critical spots here where it needs to really start to break these ranges to really get to a higher level. But we are very elevated, like I said before. You know, that weekly candle close was, you know, wasn't a bad close. Actually, you know, it really wasn't a bad close at all. I wouldn't really say it's a hammer candle. You don't usually get hammer candles at the top of a range like that. So it was more of like maybe like it's close to a pin, but it's kind of like a doji. I don't know. I would say it's kind of like an indecision candle, but it closed green. Okay. So, but we closed above, you know, the 104.6K region, which is pretty good, which is good. All right. So our high time frames still look good. We still have our monthly candle that's still intact here. We definitely need to close a monthly candle above 112, 220 to probably make new all-time highs or to show continuations on the monthly chart here. Okay. So yeah, overall, I think Bitcoin's fine. Even if we do get a drawdown, another drawdown on it, I'm not really that concerned with what's happening here on this chart. We'll take a look at ETH real quick. You guys can all hear me, right? All right. So ETH, kind of like Bitcoin, is you know, exhausting a bit on the weekly momentum, and I'm sure our 3-day is giving us some sell signals. You know, the daily here is starting to reset itself a bit, so we could be just maybe getting some like consolidation here on ETH. All right, you can actually kind of see that the RSI is just kind of down sloping, like I said, consolidating like that. Okay, kind of like a flag pattern on the RSI. And yeah, so we attempted to try to break out of this triangle. We failed to break it. I think it's possible that we get one more tag down to like 2200. And then maybe consolidate here before we try to head higher. Something like that. Our weekly is still long here on ETH. You can see all these wicks up here. A lot of rejection wicks at the top of this range. So if the buyers can't push the price through, what ends up happening is we come back down to test support, right? Regain some momentum that way. You can see we got like a weekly counter trend here, short right at the top of this range, right in that Fibonacci level. But yeah, I mean, you could just see that it is just consolidating here. I wouldn't say it's really bad. It's just going sideways. All right. Zooming out, I think, is the really important thing to look at. Okay. So zooming out here on the monthly time frame is kind of what I was looking at. And we're pending a monthly stochastic RSI cross-up. That's a very bullish thing to see and to have happen. This could take some, a couple weeks to consolidate down here and build some momentum to actually break through some of these levels, like this $2,800 region specifically. I think once we break 2,800, it's really just, this is going to break out. Like once it curls around that region there, I don't think it's really much for ETH to pick up steam and break out. Because if you look at the structure, we're about 67% away, 60 to 65% of the way through the bullish pennant that we're in. So these usually break out about 70% through the pattern, kind of like XRP was in its structure. You guys remember the 7-year pattern on XRP, right? Very similar type of, well, it's not similar in terms of, how long the structure was, but it's similar in terms of the structure, the pattern. Okay. So yeah, this actually was about 80-something% through the structure. So it was a bit elongated. But yeah, you can see also XRP probably going to, if it's sitting here on the bullish control zone like that, that's good. But I think that this is going to come down a bit, potentially. XRP, well, it might just sit up here also, for what it's worth. But it does look like it wants to maybe retest, this $130 region, $140 region potentially, especially if Bitcoin pulls back, right? Okay. So, yeah, what do you guys got? I did take a trade on a AI coin. This may not play out if we're going to see some further drawdowns, but the daily time frame here looked pretty good. Yeah, we'll take a look at Pulse Chain, AVAX. Okay, so yeah, our daily short is still in play here on this coin, but what I thought was really interesting was we have some confluence of support right here at this trend line. You can see also the daily stochastics giving us that bullish divergence. So to me, this looks like a nice area for a potential swing if we do see bullish price action on Solana, right? So this is reliant on Solana performing, or at least not getting completely hosed, so to speak. So this didn't break out just yet, but I'm thinking we could get a move, even if it doesn't break out or break out of this major pattern that it's in. It could break to the trend line, which is about 100% move, which is, I think, really good risk to reward down here. Okay, so I did take a trade on this. I posted this in the Discord for you guys. And yeah, it's really simple. So stops probably just below this 0.027 region. And, my entry is right around here. And we're looking at, it's basically right around a 3-to-1 risk to reward. And that's the minimum I'd be looking for on a trade. So that's, I think, good. We'll take that trade. We're in that trade. Okay. Pulse chain. Pulse chain, man. Okay, so Pulse chain is, how's it going? RPM. I kind of have something plotted here. I don't know if it's going to play out, but if Pulse chain can kind of hold this range that it's at right now, it's a pretty critical spot for it. You can kind of see we actually are below this range, but let's make a higher low than this low. Okay, let's grind our way back up. Yeah. I'm not liking this weekly momentum here, man. I'm not liking that. You got it's kind of some weak momentum. You got your RSI is neutral on the weekly. So there's no real concern with the momentum right now. You're not like showing bearish divergence really on the momentum. Yeah, you kind of do have a little bit of weekly momentum, like MACD divergence a bit. Your 2 week here, you had bullish divergence kind of starting to build. Okay. So what you really want to see is actually a reclaim of this 33.3 region. And you really just need to get above this 52.71 region for a breakout. It's kind of weak, man. Unfortunately, it is kind of weak. I really don't see any real edge on this chart right now in terms of what it's doing. No monthly cross, no MACD monthly cross, or anything like that. Just kind of chopping around up here. It would be good. It would have been good if you got closes back into this range. They got rejected for now. So just pay attention to that. Just your first hurdle is getting back into this range. Okay. So we'll continue to monitor that. Avalanche was actually looking interesting. We'll take a look at Avalanche here. Your monthly time frame is at the range lows. Okay. Or right near the range lows, I should say. So that doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look the best, but doesn't look terrible. You closed what looks to be a very similar candle to what Bitcoin did, like kind of an indecision candle-ish there. But you can see the buying pressure on the bottom side wick. Okay, so that's good. Again, kind of just range bound here between $15 and $26, kind of smack dab in the middle of that range right there. I wouldn't say there's any actionable trade setups here. You're in the middle of a range. If we were towards the bottom of the range, I would say you got a good shot at trading this to the top of the range. But now you're in the middle of the range. I would say it's the no trade zone. That's really it for Avalanche. Yeah. Okay. So your 2-day here kind of crossing back up. So you got some momentum that's kind of trying to build here on the 2-day chart. So that's good. You really want to start to see closes above, $26 for this to trade back up to the real top of the range at 54. I would say once you start taking out 26, the target would be, the top of the range there. on Avalanche. So hopefully this is the higher low. So you have a low, you got rejected towards the top of this range, pulled back, but made a higher low. Okay, so what we really want to see is we want to see this break and maybe make one more low somewhere over here, 22. And you get a third higher low, and you get 3 rising valleys. Then you know that it's going here, okay? That's what you want to see, okay? For a change of trend. All right, so that's your Avalanche. Twist Bioscience Corporation. Okay. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to go high time frame here because I don't really know what this stock looks like. And then we'll kind of look at Kava. All right, man. So, okay. So your monthly momentum here is coming into oversold territory, right? So that's potentially a good sign for exhaustion or maybe the assets at a low. Your 3-week here is starting to cross up. That's good. All right, so you're in the buy zone here on the longer term time frames. Your 2-week here also starting to give you some signal. Your weekly as well. So this could be a long-term area where you would want to accumulate this asset. Could be. All right, you don't have any confirmations of that. You do have some, what looks to be some stochastic RSI divergence. So that's good. Let's go to your 3-day time frame here. Okay, your 3 days below the 20 line. That's good. Your 2-day also below or right around. Okay, so you're getting daily 2-day, 3-day buy signals here. Looks good in terms of momentum on your stochastic RSI. Okay. So I would say that looks pretty good, especially if this is a support resistance flip here. Okay. And the momentum is kind of dictating that the asset is oversold on high time frames. So flat. You're good to probably take an entry here, and you just keep your stop below this support resistance flip area. That's it. Okay. So, I mean, you give it some room, man, maybe, a 20% drawdown potentially on something like this. And, I would say to about the 2150 region. And let's just say you entered it today. What's up, Cookies? Yeah, and I'm not really a big fan of this trade, but you're looking at about a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward, just the top of this range. But if you're really long term on something like this, and you're targeting all time highs, then it's worth it. Okay. Then I would say it becomes worth your time. But you know what I would really do, man? Instead of entering this trade right now, even though you're getting all those momentum signals that say you're probably going to bounce here, wait to see what it does on the bounce. Because after it bounces, it's gonna come back down. Okay? And on the comeback down, you're gonna confirm a low. I would much rather you take a trade on a confirmation low than on a bounce. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't make money off this bounce. You can. Okay? But I don't really see any real structure or pattern to this thing. It's just, okay, it broke and now it's retesting its break, and then maybe it's going to bounce here, right? You know what I mean? There's not really a huge edge on this chart. I'm not saying there isn't an edge. There is a momentum edge that you're probably going to see this go up, okay? But in terms of structures or patterns, not really seeing one. That's kind of naked to my eye. That's all. Yeah, exactly, dude. Okay. But yeah, this is definitely a critical support region. You can clearly see you have one level here, retest here. You know, this zone here is a previous major support level before this major run up. So maybe, you know, what could be happening is this pullback is actually setting up for a major run. It could be doing that, but we don't know. We don't know that it's doing that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what else did you guys want to look at? Kava. Sure. And this coin hasn't done anything in a very, very long time. Wow. Well, you're definitely in the buy zone. That is for sure. Okay. I mean, look at this. Look at these candles. Just wicks, 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 wicks. Like just no action on this asset. Yeah, I mean, you could see your long-term trend line of resistance here is still intact. Once you break the trend, I think, yeah, you could be off to some higher prices for sure. But for now, this monthly engulfing candle is still active. Okay. So that's good. I wouldn't really want to be in this asset below 36 or 35 cents. So if you are in this coin, I think it's fine as long as you aren't below this region here. You know, this support right here that you're pretty much at, pretty close to right there. You could definitely see this is going into some sort of squeeze for sure. You are starting to clip here on the monthly time frame, so that's good to see. Your monthly momentum is starting to tick up into bullish control zone, so that is implying a potential break is coming. All right. You know, where could this go on a breakout? Well, probably up to test the super trend around this 120 region. I would say that that's going to be a big order block for it to get through. And if you then start closing monthly candles above $1.20, well, then you could target a lot higher prices. But until then, I think just targeting those regions for now is sufficient. Okay, I do see this being a potential wedge for sure. All right, you guys can see that. That does look like a falling wedge pattern, if I do say so myself. So yeah, long-term swing target would be the top of the wedge. Looks like $9 would be your swing target long-term. That could take months, could take 6 months, could take a long time. We do like wedges. All right. Anything else? Do you guys have any other assets that really stand out that look really good that are kind of outperforming the rest? I will say there is a pulse chain asset that is doing extremely well right now. It is the copy version of ETH. It is called ST ETH on pulse chain. This actually broke out today. And this has some major upside movements ahead of it if this continues to about 4 pennies. the top of the range. I mean, you can see this is just bull flag after bull flag after bull flag after bull flag. I think the pattern is going to continue repeating itself. This actually looks really good. It's a small cap on Pulse Chain. Moon Pig, yeah, we can take a look at Moon Pig, dude. Sure. Moon Pig. Don't have that much data, but you can see your daily here is trying to curl back up on the stochastics. Your 12-hour probably gave you the buy signal already. There it is. You have this bullish divergence, okay. That is going to continue to produce a move for you. You can see the MACD also giving you that divergence there. That is what is producing this movement. You are on the cusp of breaking on the 12-hour here on the trend line. You do want to get a 12-hour candle close that is above 2.4. Otherwise, I would say that would be a fake break. And not only do you want to see a close above there, you want to see volume coming in there, okay, to confirm that break. So, yeah, it looks like maybe a descending broadening formation. Your real target, if you do break, is actually the top of this range, which is right around that 4-cent region. That is going to be a 12-hour super trend flip. If you get up there and close up there, that would take you then to the top of the pattern, which is around 10 cents on a candle body close basis. That would be the swing target for that if you get up there and you continue. All right, so that's your Moon Pig. There's another coin here that is kind of an OG coin that I've been kind of watching, especially with all this quantum stuff going on. Quantum Resistant Ledger. This coin, I don't know if this is actually a real candle or anything, but you can start to see some accumulation happening with this asset. There's higher lows and maybe it's trying to make higher highs here, right? I'm not trading it. I'm not buying it, but just something maybe you guys want to look into. It looks decent. Looks like it's been around too, so you know it's just not a like a rug pull kind of coin. But take a look. Do your own research, of course. Sure, cookies. So yeah, back to the Ava AI setup here. See how this materializes. We are clipping here on the daily time frame and showing a bit of daily divergence here. A bit. Bitcoin is trying to now break the 106K region. We are getting some nice momentum coming in on the daily here, right? We talked about that in the 2-day, bouncing off bullish control zone. This also starting to show some momentum coming back into the asset. That could be enough to push us through, guys, all right? So we'll just kind of be monitoring this region. It does look like we are going to try to push through here in maybe the next few hours or next day or so. So that should bode well for the rest of the market. And that also means that Tether is probably pulling back. All right. So that's good. Yeah. Cool. We've been live for about 35 minutes here. There's one other person on the stream. It's a busy night here on YouTube. Anybody else have anything else they want to look at tonight? And let me remind you guys about platinum real quick. We spoke about it not so long ago. But platinum here, repeating almost the same exact pattern it repeated in the 2000 bubble. Okay. Do you guys see what I'm seeing? It looks very eerily similar to what happened in 2000. Do you guys see what I see happening here? Look at all this divergence. This is a quarterly time frame. Looks insane, actually. Platinum looks insane. Well, anyways, kind of a no-show stream tonight. That's fine. I will pick this back up next week for you guys. Maybe we'll put out some static content. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys haven't done so already. Smash the notification bell to get all the updates here at Swing Trade Pros. Thank you guys so much. Catch you guys next week. And let's hopefully see Bitcoin kind of break above this 106 region. I think that that's pretty critical for us to see new all-time highs here pretty quick. So catch you guys next week. Appreciate all you guys tuning in.